What's going on, guys? Ted from Immersion here, and it's time for your D&D weekly update. This week we've got some stuff about a couple of novels that have come out, some deals on Fantasy Grounds content, updates to Sword Coast Legends, and a new set of errata for the official core rulebooks, as well as errata for the various campaigns, or at least a couple of the campaigns that have come out. So stay tuned. So why don't we jump right in here? So first up, this is something. The concept of it shouldn't be weird to me, but it is weird to me. So R.A. Salvatore, who is the author of all the Drizzt books and most of the expanded novel universe, I would say, not all, but most of the Dungeons and Dragons universe, he just came out with a book recently called Maestro. This is a follow-up to his book Archmage, which is all about Drizzt. It's like the Homecoming series, I believe. Is that what it is? Yes, the Homecoming trilogy. However, he's going to be doing a virtual reality fireside chat. Let that sink in for a second. Virtual reality fireside chat using Altspace VR's virtual fantasy tavern. You can go and sit in the virtual reality tavern with R.A. Salvatore around the tavern fireplace, and you can also watch it in 2D on certain PCs and Macs. You can ask questions directly in virtual reality. You can ask them via the official D&D Twitch stream, which it will be broadcast on, or by retweeting hashtag VRSalvatore. This is on May 23rd, so that's 2 days from now. You guys can go and check that out, but I just think it's a really cool concept to be able to have the author or whoever the Q&A is in the same room, but virtually in the same room, and a little bit more interactive and immersive than just being as part of like an AMA or something like that. Is that right? 10 million... Oh, 10 million books sold. I read that as 10 million different books, but... anyway, so that's this. Next up is the May. This came out on Monday. This is errata for the official books. You can see all of this has been available. It's just sometimes it's harder to come by. This is Monster Manual 1.2, DM's Guide 1.1, and 1.0 errata for Horde of the Dragon Queen, and 1.0A for Princes of the Apocalypse. I will check these. I don't recall off the top of my head. These will be what's in the 6th printing of the Monster Manual. I don't recall what has changed. I believe this was the big one. The resistances and immunities was the big shift. Most of this other stuff, from what I recall, was already in there. One of the bigger things... Oh, we'll get to it, I guess. So, things that have instances where it says non-magical weapons, it's been changed to non-magical attacks. So, when it says weapons, you would theoretically believe that if I was a bear using a claw and scratching you, it wouldn't matter because that's not a weapon. It has resistance to non-magical weapons, not non-magical attacks, meaning a natural attack would be fine. I never looked at it that way, but that's how it was written. Now it is non-magical attacks. Particular creatures are even resistant or immune to damage from non-magical attacks. A magical attack is an attack delivered by a spell, a magical item, or another magical source. In addition, some creatures are immune to certain conditions. The monster is considered to be a member of that class when attuning to... Again, this is another thing for spellcasting. When attuning to or using a magic item that requires membership in the class or access to its spell. Info on legendary creatures, about transforming to legendary creatures, you don't get their legendary actions, and then adjustments to every monster. Again, the big ones I state are the dragons right here. If you're unaware, all of the ancient dragons, for the most part, have had their experience boosted significantly. Like, look at this, Ancient Blue Dragon. If you fought it initially, it was worth 32k experience. It's supposed to be 50k. That's a huge jump in XP. Some of these are smaller, like some of the good dragons, it looks like the white, 24,500 to 25, same thing with the brass. But, I mean, look at an ancient gold and an ancient red, from 36,500 to 62. It's a big bump. Big shifts on the staves and things for the assassin. No, oh, it has little caveats for 6th printing. Never mind. That's perfect. So we'll actually know what it was. I didn't realize that. Banshee. 6th printing. It's now it updated its saving throw went up for its charisma. Detect life creatures up to 5 miles away. Creatures up to 5 miles away that aren't undead or constructs. 6th printing. Doppelganger. In the first round of combat, the doppelganger has advantage on attack rolls against any creature it's surprised. Okay, maybe not. It might have just been surprised creatures. Now it's ones that it's surprised. Let's just keep going. Most of these look like these are old. 6th printing. Kenku. In the first round of combat, the Kenku has advantage on attack rolls against any creature it's surprised. So that must be... That's one of the big changes, is that. A Horned Devil, hit points. I don't know if that's higher or lower, but that was an adjustment. Lich, living creature, is now a non-undead creature. 6th printing. Looks like that might be it. Okay. So that is for the monster manual. I'll put the link to that in the description. Dungeon Master Guide. You know what? Can we just do 6th? Okay. Evaluating encounter difficulty. The threshold that equals the adjusted experience value determines the encounter's difficulty. If there's no match, use the closest threshold that is lower than adjusted XP value. Treasure Hoard in this table, 11 to 12 is now 10 to 12 for Treasure Hoards. Monster features. In the table, Dive Attack is now Dive, and in the damage transfer example, Dark Mantle is now Cloaker. Okay. And lastly, that's it. Okay. The other thing I would recommend checking this out, there has been some tweaks, if you haven't seen this, to the various weapons. A handful of individual weapons. A lot of it's just rewording things so they make more sense. However, Bag of Tricks makes the animals disappear at dawn, so you can't have an unlimited army of animals. Also, there's clarification on how Spell Scroll works, the big one being if this spell's on your spell list, you can read the scroll and cast its spell without providing any material components. Otherwise, the scroll is unintelligible. Casting the spell by reading the scrolls requires the spell normal casting time. Once the spell is cast, the words on the scroll fade and it crumbles to dust. If casting is interrupted, the scroll is not lost. So that's that. Let's check out these guys here. Do they have any caveats? Do they all say 6th printing? Latest changes. To coincide with the changes to Princess of the Apocalypse, we have updated the Elemental Evil Players Companion PDF. Content changes in it are minor. The Erupting Earth and Whirlwind spells receive their corrections, and the Snifferblin Magic Feat now features the version in the Sword Coast Adventures Guide. Wording changes only, not substantive changes. And then the rest of the information is here. It doesn't say that it's going to tell you... oh, maybe it is 6th printing. Let's take a look. It doesn't say. The changes appear in recent printings of the book starting with its 6th printing. It doesn't actually state what the updates are, but here it is. So it looks like there's adjustments, just some grammar adjustments. I don't really think there's much major adjustment. Oh! Lizard Folk Ready Room. The 12 Lizard Folk are now 20. That's 8 more Lizard Folk. And you know what? Maybe let's do a quick look. I kind of went over this. The Guard is now a Veteran. That's a big bump up. The second paragraph, the Guards are now Veterans. This sounds like it's making it more lethal, and Horde of the Dragon Queen is already pretty tough. 3 Guards and 8 Cultists here are asleep or relaxing. Just getting redundant treasure out of the way. Golden Hind has been replaced with the Golden Stage. And the High Holy Day has been replaced by Payback. I think this is just naming changes. Oh, okay. Big one. The Assassins in No Rooms at the Inn are downgraded to Veterans. This would be almost impossible at your level if these were 4 Assassins. So that makes a lot more sense. DC 15 Perception check is now DC 10. The Karnath Roadhouse, the unmarked area in the upper level of 4, has a door and is marked with a 7. Castle Neartar. As the character approaches the tunnel, any of them with a passive perception of 10 or higher hears bestial voices ahead, growling and murmuring instinctively in Draconic. Passive perception rolls added canon, which is not a big thing that was stressed in Horde of the Dragon Queen. 12 lizard folk are now 20. There are 3 specters, not 6, which was pretty tough for us when we did it. Following paragraph has been appended to this section. Farblex retires to the chamber to study 2 spell books, which he stole in Area 2N. Drelmor, Orngray, and Resmir would be furious if they learned the books were missing. One belongs to a 7th level wizard and contained spells up to level 4, and the other was written by a 9th level wizard and contained spells up to level 5. You pick the spells. Being wizard spells, the magic is beyond Farblex's ability to learn. His lust for power is great to keep him. So that was a way to add additional spells for your wizard casters. 12 has been added to the room in the upper right hand corner. 6 and 7 have been removed. The first paragraph, if you are tuned to Hearthstone, changes if you aren't attuned. Okay, so that is that. And then lastly, Princes of the Apocalypse. 6th printing. I think things have been adjusted. I'm trying to see, we didn't get very far before we kind of stopped playing through this game. I'm just trying to see if there's any additional updates that are major. Doesn't really look like it. Attack bonuses went up for some of the monsters towards the end there. Things like that. Alright, so those are all the errata for the official books that have come out thus far. Next up, Rage of Demons. I'm sorry that took a while to go through that. Rage of Demons has been added to Sword Coast Legends. They have added a new race and a new class. The race is the Tiefling, the class is the Warlock. They have a new cantrip, Eldritch Blast, new spells, Finger of Death, Tasha's Hideous Labyrinth, Hex, and unique archetypes, Dark One's Blessing, Hurl Through Hell, and Create Thrall. And Tieflings as a race, fire damage is reduced by 50, Hellish Rebuke, flames surround the caster, reaching out and burning any creature for the next 40 seconds, and they can cast Darkness. And some new tile sets for DMs. Gather your party and prepare for Rage of Demons and the Underdark in Sword Coast Legends. Just a real quick, the base monster pack for Fantasy Grounds is $10 off right now. If you use Fantasy Grounds and you want to have additional monsters non-tied to specific campaigns, I would go pick that up. And Mike Selinker is on the Dungeons & Dragons podcast. He stopped by to chat about his work on 3rd edition, the Betrayal at the House on the Hill board game, and more recently, the first expansion to Betrayal called Widow's Walk. This is a fairly large... this board game is... I've heard a fair bit about it. I personally have not played it, though. I probably should. But yeah, that's it, guys. There wasn't a whole lot of news this week. Sorry it took a little bit longer than anticipated, and that is just not right at all. Let's see if we can't move this so it fits to the screen. I am sorry. There we go. Alright, so anyway, thanks guys. Up top here, you can click to check out Know Your Role. This is our Tuesday night stream. Things get pretty hectic and crazy. This one had the appearance of basically Bob Ross in a Pokemon battle this game, so you can go ahead and check that out. This right here, these two here are 2 brand new video series that I'm working on. This one is a Kickstarter spotlight where I go ahead and highlight different games or modules or things, tabletop or video game related, that are coming out. Well, it could be an accessory, it could be a game itself. I'm going to do 2 in this one. I do a 5th edition expansion piece of content, a third-party book called The Book of the Righteous, as well as a brand new original Nintendo NES cartridge game called Haunted Halloween 1986. And down the bottom is a spotlight on content on Dungeon Master Guild, the DM's Guild website. This one we're going to spotlight Matthew Mercer's College of the Maestro Bard and talk all about that. So you can go ahead and check that out to see my kind of review and what I think about it, but also to bring it to your guys' attention. You can always click right down here to subscribe. Thank you guys so much. We broke 600 subscribers. I really appreciate that. We also just broke 200 subs on Twitch. So that means we're going to be doing our one-shot coming up very soon of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness. So be on the lookout for that. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time.